Hi guys, and welcome to this little update here on the Kinera CELEST Wyvern. If you guys, have followed my channel and have seen my previous reviews, the CELEST Wyvern has been a long time budget single DD from Kinera, from CELEST in this particular case, in the under $30 price bracket that was initially marketed as a gaming IM or an IM that was competent when it came to being used for gaming, quickly it became obvious that it wasn't only gaming that it did very well. It played music extremely well, and so we had, let's say, successors to that formula. Anyway, this is the original Wyvern, was available in the just the Wyvern or the Wyvern Pro, which had an extra cable for with a mic so that you could use it for gaming. Then a couple of months later, they released the Wyvern Abyss, which is this unit here, which has got kind of like a faceplate which simulates scales. Then later, already during last year, they released the Wyvern King. I hope I am saying that correctly. King in QINQ or G, sorry, QING. I hope I'm saying that correct. Which was again the same formula of the Wyvern rekindled. Then towards the end of the year, they launched the Wyvern Blue, which is this one here, which was a limited edition again with like this faceplate simulating some sort of scales. Anyway, all of them. And this fifth one here is the EPZ Q1 Pro. Sorry, my apologies. Anyway, all of these IEMs, EPZ included, all use the same LCP driver. And what in essence that LCP driver does or is capable of is a tuning which is very balanced. Let's put it that way. Very balanced. There's no real flaws in the tuning. LCP drivers, by their nature, will not be drivers that do the upper registers in an aggressive manner, and that's very noticeable with any one of these models. The upper registers are done really well, and by upper registers I mean the upper mids and treble. There is a gliding style sort of bass between being implemented in the Wyverns, with a smooth pinna gain which peaks close to 3K. You could almost say that it peaks at 2.5, but close to 3K. And then there's a small plateau, and then it drops off with some extension past 10K also being possible if wide bore tips are used like I've done with all of them here. Actually, the measurements that I will show you in a few minutes have been all done with the same medium-sized wide bore tip to maintain consistency, and all using the dongle. Previous measurements that I had done, there were some variations in the bass between the original Wyvern and then the Abyss and subsequent models, being closer to this one than to this one, but it was down to when I checked and I repeated the measurements and the same thing happened, it was down to me having used a different dongle. Excuse me. When I did the measurement here for the Abyss, I was using an AKM dongle, which by way of its implementation, it's just that particular dongle, which is a dongle from Acme. The bass is boosted slightly, so what was happening was that you were noticing a boost in the bass from the normal Abyss. Sorry, my apologies, from the normal Wyvern to the Abyss. And this time around, what I did to avoid those discrepancies is and make the measurements more consistent and more professional, if you want to put it that way. I used the same dongle from Duno, which uses the Cirrus Logic chip. Used the same medium-sized tip, and even went as far as measuring them in 3.5 and 4.4 terminated cables to see what would happen. And what would happen was just obviously the 4.4 being getting its output from the balanced side of the dongle. It increased that extra amount in the output, but everything was always consistent. And if there's one thing that I have to give, at least to all of these units that I have here, absolutely flawless consistency. Flawless. Okay. Now, to wrap this up and show you the graphs, why am I doing this? Very simple. I've heard people say that, oh no, they're all different and they change and they're not the same. Nonsense. Nonsense. I have got multiple sets of them. I went and did actual multiple set measurements on the wooden standard and on the Abyss, and everything came out always exactly the same. I repeat, the level of consistency between these IEMs and the various not models, but the various numbers I have of them is absolutely incredible. I have 3 of these, 3 Abysses, 2 Blues, and 3 of these, the Kings. They all measure exactly the same. Honestly, it's pretty good. It's pretty incredible, to be honest. Pretty incredible. This is something that I would expect out of an IEM costing a hell of a lot more money, and not on an IEM that is budget, where things on care isn't taken to the next level. Let's put it that way. But this is a testament to one thing, which is Kinera and CELEST in this particular case. They are serious about giving and offering a properly built, properly done product. Okay. Now, why do I have the EPZ Q1 Pro? You might ask. Well, simple. The Q1 is basically that. Simple as that. The minor difference that exists between the Wyvern, the Abyss, the King, and the Blue and the Q1 Pro is this. The Q1 Pro has a metal nozzle. That metal nozzle has a slightly different measurement in terms of diameter and length to the stock nozzle of the other of the Wyverns, which is integrated into the actual IM. That's the only difference that exists, and that slight difference then confers in terms of the output, which I'll show you now in a second on the graphs. That minor difference that you see. Okay, let me show you the graphs and we continue. Okay, let's start here with the graphs. Okay, this is the graph of the original Wyvern, the normal and Pro version. Okay, the one which had the white shell. Okay, as you can see, that gliding style of bass, nice, smooth, progressive pin again, peaks at close to 3, then it chops off. Couple of related peaks, some extension, and this extension is due to be the white bore tip being used. If you don't use a white bore, there's not as much of this extension, and the soundstage is slightly smaller, ever so slightly smaller. Otherwise, 100 hertz here corresponds to just under 2 kilohertz on that side there of the upper mids and treble. And what that does is it gives us a clean sound, but a sound which is more mid focused than bass. Bass is exceptional, nothing to be said there, but it's the star of the show here is the mids and upper mids. Okay, sound is smooth, it's clean, it's detailed. It's a sub $30 IM, let's not forget that. Vocals are really nice. There's very, very little that you can actually point as a negative aspect, or this or that. Nothing. Trust me, very, very, very little. Now, Abyss, next one. Exactly the same, people. As you can see, same. So those people out there saying that there are differences and that they are not, either they didn't use the same dongle like I initially did, okay, or then they've got some units that are just different from all of the units that I have. Like I said, I've got in total, like I said, almost 15 units of these, and the consistency is second to none. Okay, that's the Abyss. Now, this is the King. The King, and on both of the versions that I have of it, on the 3 that I have of it, there is this very minor difference here that you can see. This very minor difference. Audibly, I didn't pick up on it. I didn't, and all of them actually did that. So I will give the King the benefit of the doubt that it's been slightly retuned. Okay, but this difference is we're talking about, guys. Let's get things clear. We're talking about a 1.2 dB difference. I honestly will struggle to believe that anybody can tell the difference, especially in this area of 2 to 3, and it's at the middle of that where that difference is the biggest, because at closer to 2 it's almost nothing, at closer to 3 it's almost nothing again. So seriously, okay, so that's that. And finally, the blue, exactly the same as the original. So as you guys can see, these things measure, if I put all 4 of them, they measure the same, they sound the same, period. Okay, now for the sake of then just putting one of them here for us to compare now with the Q1 Pro, let me just remove all of them except for the original one, and let's put now the other Q1 Pro. That's the Q1 Pro, and the difference that you see that exists here and here is purely down to the tip, nothing else. And the tip, the actual nozzle, apologies. It's the same medium-sized tip I used on it to measure, same dongle, same everything. Do I notice a difference between the two of them? I want to say no, but I'd be full of it if I would. I want to say yes, my apologies, but I would be full of it if I actually said that. I didn't pick up any difference. Honestly, again, I could not pick up a difference between the songs that I listened and the Q1 Pro and the Wyverns. I did not pick up a difference. They sound all the same, and it's a great sounding budget IM. They all sound fantastic. The EPZ is slightly more expensive than the rest. You can attribute that perhaps to it having a more fancy package, which, okay, isn't a big difference, but a slightly fancy package, maybe a slightly better cable and better tips, but the differences are not huge. And I would even go as far as to say that I have the feeling that they come from the same factory. That's my opinion. Anyway, that's it, guys. Like I said, this is going to be a nice and simple and easy one for you guys. Anyone that you choose, you will be getting the same performance. It's all down to a question of cosmetics. Do you prefer the white shell, the Abyss, the King, or the blue? The blue, being a limited edition, it's not always available. The King, you can get it in 2 color schemes. The Wyvern, well, it's always black, that's why it's called the Abyss, and the original one's got that whitish with these gross green nuances or shadows on it. It's nice. I mean, I don't have anything with it, but I'm more of an Abyss or King kind of guy. And as for the Q1 Pro, it's the same. It looks exactly the same as the King, to be honest with you. I mean, if there is any difference possible in the shell, I mean, there is a slight difference in the shell, very, very slight difference in the shell. There's a metal nozzle as well, a metal vent for the rear of the Q1 Pro. There's a slight difference in the shell, yes, there is. But you know what? They tuned exactly the same way, and they sound. I couldn't tell the difference. I'm being dead honest. I could not tell the difference. All right, guys, take care now. Bye bye.